very much for talking to us.
Thank you very much.
All right, we're looking at the NC and half year of the economy. What's your overview of the performance of the market in the half year?
No change. Basically, if you look at what we said in the NCM report, we felt that there were 4 stages which the market needed to go through. First was a stoppage of the negativity that was here. So you probably have less negative news and more positive news. Second was a sideways action with more people seeking to take profit after the market seemingly has bottomed out. The third stage was the market building up momentum. And the fourth stage was the recovery stage, which we envisaged might take place in 2010. Nothing has changed from then. And from the report from the analyst unit here, I do know that the Nigerian Stock Exchange has lost about 37% in the first quarter, only to gain about 36% in the second quarter, thus knocking itself up. But a significant thing we will find here, however, is that the switch in momentum. That means we've actually achieved the stage 1 of the whole recovery. What is the stage 1? The stage 1 of the recovery is where we stop the bleeding and we begin to climb up. The market seemingly has developed a bottom, I think about the 19,000 to 20 points range. And so you will not find the market fall below. So at least the worst scenario is over at this stage. I do believe that the worst scenario is over at this stage. And what you would find is that every time there is a seemingly attempt to rise in the market, profit taking would come in and the market will move over. That would go on and encourage a sideways movement in the absence of any negative news and any significant problem in the market. But there are 2 points worth pointing out from the report from the analyst unit. One is that if you were to compare year on year, if you were to look at June last year and this year, when the all-share index was at about 56,000 points, we have it at about 27,000 points. It did kind of still about 54%, just about 5 or so points off the net loss you had in 2008. From our standpoint, we think that there is some sense of market self-correction taking place, where you find the situation of less negativity, but perhaps not necessarily positives coming through. But the corporate actions which will begin to emerge should reflect this. And we've seen from a few that some impact, especially in the driver of the capital market, the banking sector, where you begin to see the effect of those who choose between applying the prudential guidelines in terms of their margin loans, or those who do not seek to do that. And that will begin to define for us where we're heading towards.
All right. From all you have said, the market is recovering, but at a slow pace, really.
The market is coped very well with the challenges it's had.
All right. Now, during the period on the review, a committee was set up to review capital markets, and that committee came up with a report which was made public. Can you comment on that report?
2 things. One, the committee's report, I happened to have been there on the day the presentation was taking place, and we had some synopsis of it from the chairman himself and the highly respected Mr. Adidotun Sulaiman, where Senator Ododo, not the chairman of Securities and Exchange Commission, Anidi Okereke, and Alhaji Musa Al-Faki, who unfortunately is no longer there, was in place. There are quite far-reaching positions taken by the hard work of those committees. Some of the conclusions of the committee have been knocked by the Nigerian Stock Exchange. Through a curious approach, one would have expected that, having been part of the whole process, such issues would have been resolved in-house. But I think one of the few points which appeared contentious was the role of a proposition in that committee's report, amidst all the good job it did, suggesting the position of an executive chairman for the Securities and Exchange Commission. This, I believe, was widely disapproved of, and beyond that, the other issues are still subject to discussions within the committee. Now that the report has come out, stakeholders are discussing it, and it is expected that people will move. We had made our comments on those reports, that it is high time we make adjustments to the rules guiding the market. But there is something much more which is yet to be seen, and that is enforceability of rules in the Securities and Exchange Commission. A situation whereby rules cannot be enforced on those who breach those rules in terms of public offers, in terms of private placement, in terms of erring stockbrokers. You do have an increasing number of stockbrokers who are either committing outright criminality in the market, and yet the process of redress for the average investor that's in the market is such that it is not only too long, but in terms when you actually do it through, you cannot see it enforced. And those are the areas where I begin to see that if the market will regain its confidence, will begin to move forward. It is important therefore that those aspects of the market rules be confronted and dealt with. It is not enough to have rules. There must be the ability to supervise, and there must also be the ability to enforce, which also might involve other agencies as well. I would take it as part of our own learning curve, where it's just something that we have to do more rapidly than we are doing right now.
Okay. Now, the new central bank governor, towards the end of the first quarter, or rather, end of the first half year of 2009, made a pronouncement concerning the banks, and their margin lending, and that actually affected the market in June. So what's your take on that?
If I recall very well, his pronouncement was such that would not have, should not have affected the market, because it wasn't making any pronouncement different from what the industry understood it to be. If I recall, the CBN governor, Professor Charles Soludo, had earlier on stated that as part of managing the impact of this margin loan challenge for the investors and the banks themselves, they were willing to provide a sort of moratorium, i.e. an adjustment in terms of the application of the prudential guidelines, which meant that they didn't have to hit everybody. And that 1 year, it is assumed, would have given everybody a chance to adjust out of the whole quagmire we have found ourselves, which was fair in itself. I think what the CBN governor said was that Mr. Lamido Sanusi Lamido, is that, which was also well informed, is that we should know exactly what we're dealing with here. All steps taken across the global environment in terms of this market meant that it was important that we do know the quantum of toxic assets carried by those banks, with a view to taking action either to recapitalize, make a request for recapitalization for some, or to make adjustments for some. Don't forget that part of the means of adjusting this challenge was the expanded discount window which was created. Though this process is not transparent, obviously to the merit of protecting banks who go to the discount window, otherwise others would have used it as a form of signal of stress, which exactly is what it is that they should find a way to let us identify the quantum. Now, what the CBN governor's pronouncement means is an indictment of the supervisory process in the country, which meant that the CBN would have to conduct a special audit to identify margin loans. And that in itself is an indictment that the normal process cannot give an accurate figure. That is one. Two, there is also exposure to three major sectors: the petroleum sector, the maritime sector, and those special vehicles like Transcorp and Virgin Airlines, which are considered to have moved past the average threshold of recoverable, and they may tend towards going towards long-term debt or possibly debts that may not crystallize. And as such, it is important therefore to know and take this out of the system, so that when you're talking about the system, you know what you're talking about. This is no different from what the Americans did when they decided to conduct a stress test. And when they conducted the stress test, they actually reviewed bank by bank the quantum of capital deficiency arising from this development. In our own case, rather than we do the one to release it, and we have individuals postulate